Okay, Chief, could you please explain to us today why you are doing this?
Sure, we're here to discuss 3 shooting incidents that occurred here in the city of Americus on January the 19th.
Can we please start at our left end and have everyone introduce themselves?
Absolutely. I am Diadra Powell, the city manager for the city of Americus.
I'm Kinnamon. I'm a retired educator, but now serve as mayor of the city of Americus.
I'm Mark Scott, I'm the police chief here in Americus.
Eric Bryant, Sheriff, Sumter County.
Knighton, Superintendent, Sumter County Schools.
Travis Lockhart, CEO, First Start Solution, First Start Academy.
Wonderful, thank you all for joining us here today. Now, what do we know at this time? Could we please start with the police chief and then speak with Sheriff Bryant?
Sure, so yesterday, which was January the 19th, we had 3 incidents here in the city where shots were fired, resulting in persons being injured. Starting about 6:30 in the morning, and then mid-morning, and then mid-afternoon, we had another incident. They all occurred in 3 different neighborhoods in the city. They are all 3 currently under investigation. We have made a couple of arrests already. We've identified most of the suspects that are involved and hope to have more arrests very shortly.
In our role at the Sheriff's Office, basically what we served is as a support system for the police department. So basically once that call came out, the second shooting call, officers or deputies respond just to assist the police officers in securing crime scenes, as well as making sure crowd control is maintained. So that was our role in the incident involving the shooting yesterday.
Wonderful. Our superintendent, how are we addressing this issue in the community? What are you doing to assure the families of how we're moving forward?
At the school level, we're working jointly with our entities here, law enforcement, the sheriff's department, the police department, as well as the mayor. And we had a joint meeting today with the school district administrators, along with the entities that I aforementioned, as well as our transportation department. We're coming together to bring solutions to these particular incidents that we're having. We've have established a possible forum coming up where we'll include other stakeholders such as our students, our parents, our community leaders, to be a broader sense of what we're trying to get accomplished. There was a minor incident at the high school at the end of the day on yesterday following the shootings that may or may not be linked to the shootings, and so our school-based staff is handling those situations, and we'll keep individuals posted as we move forward.
Wonderful. All right, Mr. Lockhart.
Well, at First Start Academy, we also is partnering with the law enforcement agency. We met with Sheriff Bryant, we met with Chief Scott, and we also constant contact with Superintendent Knighton at First Start. We're getting memos out to our parents and students of keeping them real-time world, what's going on at the school level, what's going on at district level, so they can be aware of what's going on and what we're doing at First Start.
Wonderful.
Also from the school level, our school-based personnel and our district personnel will be working on some protocols as we look at different activities that's upcoming for us as a school system to be able to address some minor safety adjustments based on these circumstances.
All right, City Manager, Diadra Powell. How are we moving forward in the community? What can we do from the city's perspective?
Well, certainly we want to make sure that our citizens are informed about what is actually happening versus what is being said. We are working to get out in front of as many rumors as we can. The chief has indicated that he does a podcast and some other types of interviews over the radio. I have asked that we expand that to other media, because we realize and recognize that there's a subset of our community that we are missing. They're not reading the press release, they're not listening to the podcast or the radio station. And so we want to make sure that all of our citizens are informed about what is actually happening, the truth of what is happening, and not the rumor mill. That's one of the things that we're doing, and we certainly want them to know that we are as concerned as they are about the things that are transpiring in our community. We want them to know that we are listening and that we do care about their safety, their well-being. We want them to feel like they are safe in their homes, that they are safe to shop, that they are safe to do the activities that they normally do. We do not want our citizens to be in fear of going to the grocery store or to be in fear of walking their dogs. We want them to be able to continue to function as they have prior to these incidences. I am sure that our police department is working diligently with other agencies to solve the issues or to solve the crimes that we've had in the last couple of days. But we want to reassure them that we live in a great city. It's our city, and it's up to all of us to make sure that we continue to move forward.
Now, our mayor.
First of all, in the immediate time frame, the assurance to our citizens that law and order will prevail, that we will have order in the streets, and that our law enforcement agencies and the school district are doing everything in their power to ensure that these types of incidents don't occur again. Working together across agencies is the key to that, and I witnessed that this morning. In the long term, we are now laying plans and have actually been in the process of doing this prior to these incidents to address the root causes and to create processes for intervening at a much earlier stage than when it reaches the crisis level or the flashpoint. And that is a goal of mine when I took office, serving as mayor, coming out of the educational arena, to make certain that we're addressing these issues early on with our youth. And the superintendent and I, Mr. Knighton, are working closely together on an ongoing basis, addressing some of those concerns in the community, including behavioral health issues, which we know are often at the root of some of these violent episodes. So those are the things that we're doing short-term and long-term.
Wonderful. Moving forward with both our police chief and our sheriff, how do you plan to update the community on what is happening so that we can make sure everyone has the same information?
Well, Sheriff Bryant and I have been working together since I came here, since he was elected as sheriff, to make sure that our agencies cooperate, share information, work together, and that we get as much information out to the community as we can. We've also been working with the One Sumter Economic Development Foundation on some initiatives to improve communication. One of the things we've been doing is a monthly podcast. We go out to the high school students actually record that, and we talk about current events, things that are going on in the city and the county. We post that on YouTube. It's out there on both of our social media channels, and we try to get that out there as much as we can. We're both actively involved in the community. We're both always available to come and talk to any group that wants to put up with us for a few minutes. So we're trying everything we can to make sure that people stay informed and that people know what's going on. They can always call and ask us questions.
All right, sure.
A lot of times when it comes down to community, keeping them updated, sometimes when you look at personnel, when these major incidents happen, all personnel is on the ground at that time. So what we're going to also try to do is have a standard process in place so that at least something factual comes from the law enforcement community. But citizens must also understand that a lot of this is active investigation, so therefore they need to be patient, but at the same time understand that we're actively working on a situation or a crime scene, because I think that citizens will want us on the ground and making sure that their neighborhood or their street is safe versus us setting up for some type of media release. But we are going to look at a more formal process of when a major incident occurred, identify the area, identify that it's just isolated to this area so that it doesn't send out a widespread panic to citizens.
Absolutely. And one last follow-up question I'd like to ask, if you do not mind, is are there other organizations in the community that individually you plan to be reaching out to that can help us address this issue that seems to be almost like an epidemic in our community? Starting with Mr. Lockhart.
Well, we'll be reaching out to local businesses that serve the community, and all other different stakeholders. Because we, on this panel, we can say all agree that these are all our kids. We are, as I like to say, we are one Sumter and one Americus. We won't. No one on this panel will make that change besides working together. So that's we'll be reaching out to different stakeholders.
From the school system standpoint, as we mentioned, our joint meeting on today, we talked about getting other community leaders involved in this process. We're jointly working with our Family Connection and various agencies across the community to be able to address some of the issues that we have, while internally with all of our faculty and staff, as well as the input from our parents and our students is going to be vital for us as we continue to be able to move forward. So we will be looking at connecting all of our stakeholders and all different levels, local government as well, in this process as we continue to move ourselves forward.
And the advantage that we have also here in Sumter County, Americus, Georgia, is that we have resources at our disposal, meaning that we partner with our state and federal agencies from a law enforcement standpoint that Chief and I have established relationships with that we have access to at the mere dialing of a phone. So I think it is important that citizens know that you have public safety leaders that have relationship with state and federal partners that are willing to come and assist when called upon.
Well, one thing that's coming up in a couple of weeks, Sheriff Bryant and I, again, have been working with One Sumter and the Carl Vinson Institute of UGA to put together a gun violence and community solutions summit, which is scheduled for February 3rd. It'll be held on the campus of Georgia Southwestern State University. We're inviting different community leaders, members of our faith community, people who are actually out there in the community doing good work. It's open to the public, and we'll be posting that on our social media to make sure people know the day and the time for sure. But it's going to be February 3rd on the campus of GSW.
I just want to reiterate that this is a community problem, not a problem that's peculiar to one particular neighborhood or isolated to one school. Youth violence is epidemic at the national level, and the law enforcement community knows this, and they speak to those numbers frequently about the stats on youth violence. But we're concerned about Americus and Sumter County, and so what we have to do is recognize that it is a larger problem, a larger issue, but it's well within our reach as individuals to do something, even on a daily basis, to counteract those negative forces in the community. The other thing I want to point out is that it is isolated. This is not representative of who we are as Americus and Sumter County. We are a great community, a community of hardworking people who devote their lives to service. So many of our citizens are involved in civic and church organizations, and I do now call on those organizations to step up and get involved, because it is something that bridges across all groups, and so that would be my call to service now at this point.
All right, and if our city manager would please wrap us up for this session.
I will reiterate that I want our citizens to feel safe in our community. I want them to know that we hear them, that we're listening. I want them to ensure that they are getting accurate information. The chief indicated their platforms, and as a city, we are going to work to see if there are other avenues where we can reach more of our citizens. We have to, one, be cognizant of, some individuals are not computer savvy, some are not listening to podcasts. And so we certainly want to make sure that they're all informed. The chief indicated that they could call. We also have a website that has information on it. It's www.americusga.gov. It has a plethora of information on it. The chief indicated that they could call, and I'm not real sure which number, but if you would share that, that would be wonderful as well.
Sure. Our main number is 229-924-3677. And we also have a Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, and a webpage to check out.
Awesome. So just thankful that we live in this city, that we work and play here.
Thank you all for coming today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.